What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're here with some more NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for tonight's single game showdown slate, the second to last Monday night football game of the year. Bengals, Bills, an incredible showdown slate. Two awesome teams, playoff implications. One of the more fun showdown slates that we have had. Welcome, I'm Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy, single game $1 million winner. And what we do in these videos, we talk about the injuries that impact the slate, low risk, high risk lineup construction tips, general showdown strategies, and everything you need to be profitable on this Bills and Bengals showdown slate. Before we get started, make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Get notified when we upload these videos, go live. Give us a thumbs up if you appreciate the content. Lets us know to continue making it. Helps others find the videos. Any questions, comment on the YouTube video below. We'll try to get back to you today. I'm offline for most of the afternoon. Not sure how quickly I'll be able to get back to you. For more direct answers, for quicker answers, join our Discord server, occupyfantasy.com/Discord. So let's jump into it. Bills and Bengals, second to last showdown slate, Monday night showdown slate of the season. We do have the wild card Monday night game that they introduced a couple of years ago, but this is the last one. Hence the Monday night finale. We have the $25 millionaire maker on DraftKings. There's a $4,000 millionaire maker on DraftKings. The FanDuel only 100K to first, the only 200K to first FanDuel decided to put out this year for Showdown was for some reason that Cowboys and Titans game on Thursday night. But we'll be okay with the $100, 100K if we win that. So let's go back to DraftKings. Let's talk about the injuries to start. Really not much. Both teams are relatively healthy. And as you scroll down, there's no major impacts, no offensive players we have to worry about. The one thing we may have to think about a little bit is Tyler Boyd, who had that finger injury, left 3 games ago. And you look at his snaps last week, down a little bit. Trenton Irwin got some more snaps as well. But we're expecting Tyler Boyd to be healthy, to run his normal complement of snaps. So that's really it. It's not much, which you would think there wouldn't be really any mispricings. There wouldn't be any super value plays as a result of injuries. Not necessarily. DraftKings has mispriced at least one player for tonight's slate. That's Isaiah McKenzie. Let's go down here. $2,800 on DraftKings. The clear wide receiver 3. They've brought in some competition. Obviously, they re-signed Cole Beasley, brought him up from the practice squad. They signed John Brown, who's not a slot receiver. They drafted Khalil Shakir. No one's been able to overtake Isaiah McKenzie. Has been leading the slot snaps basically every game this season. That'll be no different tonight. And at $2,800, we expect him to be extremely popular because there aren't any players really with a true role below his price. Above his price, we have defenses in a high total game that the field will not want to play. We do have Hayden Hurst, who will get a little bit of ownership at 3K as a starting tight end. He is back tonight. I guess that's one injury to mention. Missed the last couple of games with that calf. He could have came back last week, he said, but they wanted to wait until he was 100%. So he's back tonight. He'll have his full-time role. But McKenzie, at least 20% plus. But in some years, your low risk contests, your small field GPPs, your high dollar stuff, he's going to push 40, maybe even 50%, which is kind of crazy considering. Let me look at his game logs. I mean, literally last game he had 0.6 points. Obviously, that was a little bit of a weather game and a blowout, but he hasn't scored more than 10 points in 9 out of 12 games, 10 out of 13 games this year. So while it gives you a nice little floor for high risk contests, the largest contest, it makes sense that if his ownership is going to approach that we look elsewhere. We look for a pivot. So for those low risk contests, 50-50s, double ups, head to heads, just have to beat half the field to double our money. We talk about trying to lock up all the scoring, playing both quarterbacks, playing both running backs, playing any values that stick out. So McKenzie is one of them. We're going to get McKenzie into our lineup because he's going to be so popular for low risk contests. Josh Allen's going to be the most popular captain. We should probably fit him in as well. Joe Burrow, let's get him in. But now is where it gets tricky because we have the split backfield in Buffalo. Singletary and James Cook. It's about a 60-40 split in favor of Singletary. And they're priced pretty appropriately. Maybe Singletary's a little overpriced. In fact, Cook may be a little overpriced as well based on their roles. So it's tough to play either one of them given the context of a double up or a low risk lineup. We play Joe Mixon, at least 51.50 per player. We can play a kicker or a defense. Let's say we fit in Evan McPherson, 6,300. No one's in that price range. A lot of builds that end up like this, the final player or two are in a pricing gap where there's no one to play. So you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere or have to downgrade at captain, which is really difficult on a slate like this. And it makes low risk nearly, I wouldn't say impossible, but not a slate where we feel comfortable in playing. Different options, you can go different avenues. If you find something you like, you can certainly play it. But definitely not the easiest low risk slate for tonight. FanDuel, however, it is a little bit easier. Let's go back over here. And if we play Allen the MVP, we play Joe Burrow, the two quarterbacks. Honestly, the kickers are going to be extremely popular, and they're a little cheaper than expected. Normally, we get kickers, at least one kicker above 9K. Both kickers are below 9K in this game, so you can actually play both and have 10,500 for the final spot. Kickers are extremely valuable in FanDuel scoring and FanDuel Showdown. Playing both is a viable low-risk strategy, and this may feel gross or unsafe by fading Jamar Chase and Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon and T. Higgins, but this is a very high floor build that that can easily surpass the double up line, beating 50% of the field. So this is a great way to start, and you fill in with your favorite remaining player. All right, let's talk about high risk contests. And again, it's a pretty straightforward slate, I think. We've seen slates like this in the past, two high octane offenses, two teams with tons of stud players. We've seen these before. And despite that, let's go over the DraftKings. Because of the values in both the kickers and in Isaiah McKenzie and Hayden Hurst, the field will be able to jam in Josh Allen at captain, as they normally do. We're expecting 25% plus at captain ownership. So here's a couple ways to get different for tonight's slate in high-risk contests. We always talk about different ways to think about getting different, having unique lineups, having different roster constructions than the field. So one, you play at least two receivers of Josh Allen captain. Some portion of the field, because of Josh Allen's running ability, will only pair him with one receiver. Make sure to pair him with at least two. That's one way to get different and maximize your upside. One way I really like tonight is because of the matchup and because of the number of studs on the slate, the captain ownership for both Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, and even T. Higgins will be depressed compared to what they may be in a different matchup. So playing Chase, playing Stephon Diggs, playing T. Higgins at captain without a receiving teammate is a great way to maximize upside. We're expecting sub 15% captain ownership for all three of these guys, even sub 10% for T. Higgins. That is a great way to get different in high-risk contests. Diggs especially. We may even see him come in even lower than we project because of his game logs recently. I mean, you look at the last three games, 4.6, 10.7, 6.7. Not exciting. And for anyone who game log watches or any projection system that weights recent games a little more heavily, there's a decent chance that Diggs goes lower owned. However, he was visibly frustrated last game, has talked about getting the ball more. The Athletic article by Joe Buscaglio does a great job covering the team. Talked about how when there's a situation like this and Josh Allen discusses that mistakes were made in previous games, he does try to rectify it pretty quickly within the next game. And he explicitly mentioned in that article that Diggs not getting the ball is one of those issues in recent weeks. So if we are to believe that, and anytime we're trying to defy projection systems and look for outside sources, outside reasons to play guys in Showdown, especially high-risk contests, that qualifies. And so Diggs at captain is one of the best high-ceiling plays that may hopefully go a little lower owned based on recency bias. Two other ways. One is to, because everyone's playing the passing games in these contests, both on FanDuel and DraftKings, if the touchdown variance goes through the running backs, maybe not Devin Singletary and James Cook. On DraftKings, they could possibly get there because of the salary and points multiplier. But Joe Mixon especially, and especially on FanDuel, we've seen him have huge games before. Now his snap count is down a little bit since his injury and Samaje Perine's jumped in more, but the goal line work's still Mixon. And if Mixon gets multiple touchdowns in this game, there's a chance he's the optimal captain MVP. We have him sub 10%. No one's going to want to play him because his ownership, his snap share is down a little bit. Mixon and playing for a game that either goes under the total or the touchdown variance goes through the running game is an excellent way to get different in high-risk contests. And the final way is we love playing these plays on this type of slate. Both Buffalo and Cincinnati throughout the season are passing above expectation. What's that mean? When if you look at down and distance, you look at score, you look at time on the clock, based on how often they're expected to pass the ball on each play, both Buffalo and Cincinnati pass the ball more than they are expected, which means they throw the ball a ton. And naturally, when you throw the ball a ton, that opens up more opportunities for sacks, fumbles, interceptions, defensive touchdowns. We saw it yesterday with the Packers defense on the main slate. Many people asked why we had the Packers ranked second in our model. One, it's a model. We didn't rank it. The model ranks it that way. And it's because Minnesota passes over expectation. And the Packers were super cheap and they were low owned. And when you get a team that passes a bunch, all it takes is one mistake for your defense to score double-digit points. Packers got 2 of them. That qualifies tonight in the Bills and the Bengals. Bills just $3,600. Bengals just $3,400. They're priced right above Hayden Hurst and Isaiah McKenzie. Both will go overlooked. Bengals would not be shocked to see them sub 6%. Bills probably right around 10% ownership. Same goes over on FanDuel. If we get one mistake, and we've seen these teams make mistakes in the past, especially Josh Allen's side recently, you have to love playing a defense in high-risk contest tonight. If they get a defensive touchdown or they rack up sacks and turnovers, which is very possible with this high passing matchup, you're directly in line for a unique or very lightly duplicated winning lineup. And so I personally am going to look to get some defenses into my lineups tonight. I'm going to be over the field, and I think you should too, based on the matchup. All they have to do is outscore Hurst and McKenzie. All they have to do is outscore Bass and McPherson. And maybe you play them together, especially in a lower scoring game script. You play Bengals, McPherson, Joe Mixon, something like that. And that's a game script that makes sense. So those are just some ideas on how to build lineups for tonight. For more in-depth thoughts, make sure you check out our daily plug at occupyfantasy.com. It'll post by 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern today. Our writer Bismo does a great job. Again, one of the final showdown plugs of the year. He'll go through overall slate notes, in-depth metrics, more than I can discuss in this video, rankings for individual contest types on FanDuel and DraftKings, lineup construction tips for each site, each contest type, invaluable resource to build lineups for showdown slates. Check out our Occupy model, ranks every player FanDuel and DraftKings with that projected ownership I've been referencing throughout this video. And our lineup builder allows you to build up to 300 lineups using our optimal lineup criteria, FanDuel and DraftKings. Invaluable tool. I use it every single showdown slate. That'll do it. Appreciate you listening as always. If you made it this far and you like what you've seen, if not, maybe you just left the video on. But I assume you've liked what you've seen if you made it this far. If so, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Just make sure you check. Just go click that subscribe button. That'll get you notified when we upload any new videos, go live. PGA content is coming this week. NBA content every single day. UFC is back in a couple of weeks. NFL content throughout the playoffs. Don't want to miss it. Just subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Helps us, helps the channel, helps everyone else find it. Any questions, comment on the video. I'll try to get back to you today. No guarantees based on my schedule today. But if you want direct answers, quicker answers, join our Discord server, occupyfantasy.com/Discord. Brian Jester, Occupy Fantasy. Thanks for listening, and good luck in one of the final Monday Night Showdown slates of the year.